I was 27 when he walked into my life and drastically altered the world as I knew it. I finally found my purpose, and his name was Gareth McGregor. He owned the genetic lab that I worked for, along with half a dozen other business ventures that contributed to his considerable wealth. I didn't set out to make my boss the purpose of my life, but the first time I saw him, about 6 months after I started working for his company, it was as though I had been reborn. As though I had woken up from a semi-comatose state that had lasted my entire existence. He strode into the lab, tall and imposing, his eyes a strange brown color that almost didn't seem real because of the countless hues in them. Browns, golds, and greens made up the overall color, but they could not be called hazel. Very unusual eyes that I couldn't draw my gaze away from. He exuded confidence with every stride and carried a quiet arrogance on his broad shoulders. I could only stare at him, apparently with my mouth hanging open. One of my colleagues snickered and nudged my arm. My mouth shut with a snap. I guess this is the first time you're seeing our illustrious employer. The girls always react that way. With a snort and an eye roll, he showed what he thought about the female population's reaction. I looked around the room, mostly because I didn't believe him. Surely a group of adult women wouldn't react as though a boy band had just come through signing autographs. Sure enough, most, if not all, of the women in the lab were either open-mouthed or hiding shy smiles behind hands, their eyes downcast. I glanced back at their object of infatuation, only to find that he was looking in my direction, those odd eyes about to land on me. I shifted my gaze and looked away quickly, not wanting to make eye contact. Puzzled by my reaction to him, I tried to think if I had ever felt this way before and realized I hadn't. Not with the first man who took my virginity, nor the last man that I had been with. Just looking at him took my breath away. And I didn't think it was just his dazzling beauty. He was beautiful, there was no denying that. Handsome would not pertain to him, because it brings to mind ruggedness and possible imperfections that contribute to a pleasing whole. Gareth was spectacular in every sense of the word. His skin was a dusky gold, but slightly pale at the same time. His strange eyes were mesmerizing and perfectly almond-shaped. His long nose straight as a knife's edge. His mouth was sheer heaven, with a full lower lip and thin upper lip that seemed to have a secret smile playing about it. All this was framed by a strong jaw, strong chin, and high cheekbones. He was tall, and that day he seemed to tower over the other occupants in the room. His height was impressive. As a female of average height, I usually noticed tall men, and he was easily a few inches over 6 feet. I noticed that everyone had turned to look at me, and I couldn't figure out why. I had shut my mouth and didn't feel like I was drooling. Then the reason they were staring spoke from behind me, and I almost slid out of my chair. His voice was as hypnotic as his eyes, like a smooth whiskey poured over my nerve endings. I hear you're our newest geneticist. I'm Gareth McGregor. His hand came into my field of vision, so I stood up to face him. I placed my hand in his, and if he hadn't grasped it firmly, I would have pulled it right back. An electric current went surging up my arm from where our palms met, and I gasped, raising my eyes to his. Bad mistake. I was captured, and that's when he became my purpose. I could see myself reflected in those colorful irises, but more importantly, I saw his reaction to me. There was something akin to recognition, although we had never met, and a brief flash of anguish, which puzzled me. It was as if he studied my features forever, taking in everything about me. There was a slight scowl on that beautiful face as his eyes traveled over me like a physical touch, even though it seemed they were always locked on mine. They touched on my lips, dropped lower to the hollow at the base of my throat, where I could feel my pulse tattooing a fierce beat. Then abruptly, he dropped my hand as if he had just realized he was still holding it, and tucked his own in his pants pocket.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.